the RNC, joins us as well. Michael, I want to play that full clip for you and the audience of the president on the South Lawn yesterday. Let's listen.
Mr. President, what exactly did you hope Zelensky would do about the Bidens after your phone call? Exactly.
Well, I would think that if they were honest about it, they'd start a major investigation into the Bidens. It's a very simple answer. They should investigate the Bidens. Likewise, China should start an investigation into the Bidens. Because what happened in China is just about as bad as what happened with Ukraine.
That request for China to investigate the Bidens came just moments after President Trump addressed the ongoing trade war with China.
China's coming in next week. We're going to have a meeting with them. I have a lot of options on China, but if they don't do what we want, we have tremendous power.
Late last night, the president defended his push to have foreign governments investigate allegations of corruption. He tweeted, "As the president of the United States, I have an absolute right, perhaps even a duty, to investigate or have investigated corruption, and that would include asking or suggesting other countries to help us out." He later added, "This isn't about a campaign. This is about corruption on a massive scale." So again, Michael Steele, the president is very concerned about corruption around the world, particularly when it involves someone who's running to perhaps be his opponent in the 2020 presidential election.
Well, perhaps he should start with himself. And that, I think, is what you're seeing now. Everyone's kind of looking inward at this and saying, oh, my God, I'm caught in a mess. That's what those tweets, especially at the end, are about. The president then goes out on the White House lawn and goes, dude, yeah, why wouldn't I? Of course, you would do the same thing. And that's kind of the expectation. And it really speaks to what Steve was saying at the end there about his mindset is this is a transaction. And any transaction, I'm going to put on the table whatever I can to get the deal I want. And I'm going to bring to that table any pressure that I can to get the deal to get the confirmed again in that clip where he goes, look, I got a lot of power here. I can tell, I can put pressure on China. And then to tweet out, I have an absolute right. Which president in the history of this country has declared they have an absolute right to do anything? To think about yourself and your presidency in those terms is why we're in the mess we're in. When you see the world through that lens, you're going to say to the president of Ukraine, hey, I need you to do me a favor, though. You get it? This is how this works. And let's be clear, and I think we can't gloss over this because as you open the show, this is going to be the big thing. That one little sentence, the president wants us, makes it clear, no quid pro quo. That is a BS line. That is a cover my behind. Y'all, let's get on the same page here. Oops, we're exposed sentence. And the American people need to understand why after everything else, that's at the end after this thing comes to the public light. Not before, not in the early tweets. Let's be clear about what we're doing here, people. They had gone down that road, Willie. They had started to do the president's bidding. They were making the connections and they were putting the pressure on Ukraine to get the language right. If you want to come to Washington for an invitation by the president, you got to do this first. And that sentence at the end, just be clear, is a BS line to CYA. And folks need to understand that.
And that line came from Gordon Sondland, the U.S. ambassador to the EU, talking to Bill Taylor. Clearly, he realized Taylor was onto something and said, let's drop this off text message. Let's stop talking. So, Josh Lederman, where do we go from here? This is the letter that Adam Schiff and Elijah Cummings and Eliot Engel, the chairs of the Foreign Affairs, Intel, and Oversight Committees put out with these text messages showing grave concerns. They publicized this. They put the text out there. How does this fit into the larger picture of an impeachment inquiry?
Well, Willie, we're really just at the very beginning of all of this. This was the first testimony, deposition in what will be the impeachment proceedings. So House Democrats have a lot more witnesses that they want to hear from, a lot more documents that they are trying to get from the Trump administration. Now, we know NBC's Kristen Welker is reporting that the White House plans to send a letter to Nancy Pelosi saying they're basically going to refuse to give any documents over to this impeachment inquiry unless and until the House actually has a full vote to authorize impeachment proceedings, even though Nancy Pelosi's made it clear that she doesn't think that's legally necessary. So we're going to see a fight over document production, and we're going to see a lot more testimony, including from Ambassador Yovanovitch, who was that ambassador to Ukraine who was recalled by Trump in the wake of all of this, as well as many other potential witnesses.
We haven't even gotten to that story. We'll get to that in just a minute about the ambassador being recalled because she wasn't sufficiently supportive of President Trump's agenda, his political agenda. NBC's Josh Lederman, thank you so much. Steve, you got one more thought?
I just want to say one thing, which is, look, I think if you put the last 2 days in context, we've gone from simply arguing about parsing words in a transcript of a phone call to the Ukrainian president to an inundation of new texts, emails, phone calls with China. And this thing is getting bigger and bigger, and we'll see where that goes.
We've got a lot more to talk about this morning. We've just scratched the surface. Still ahead, we'll talk to New York Times reporter Michael Schmidt about the effort by 2 of President Trump's top envoys to get Ukraine's president to commit to investigating Joe Biden. New reporting there and a lot more when the Morning Joe comes right back on a busy Friday morning.
Thanks for checking out MSNBC on YouTube, and make sure you subscribe to stay up to date on the day's biggest stories. And you can click on any of the videos around us to watch more from Morning Joe and MSNBC. Thanks so much for watching.